Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It seems like things do not go pretty well in Ukraine for NATO troops or NATO countries and Ukraine. And it seems like how should I say, main organizer is going to advise its new vassal state, which is Ukraine, what to do. You would be surprised that the United States would advise Ukraine, to countries that have no treaties, like defense treaties or alliance treaties. I would just advise Ukraine, hey, don't do this, do it later, or don't do it at all. I wonder why Zimbabwe doesn't advise Ukraine what to do in a war against Russia. But hey, what do I know? Well, let's see what's going on here with this article coming from Ukrainska Pravda, where we find actually, not we find, it's not like, oh my, we found out 5 minutes ago. We knew this, I think, for a long time, that it's not a war really only, between Ukraine and Russia, and everybody else is just watching and helping as good-hearted people that we are. It seems more and more, and maybe I shouldn't have used the word seems, that NATO is full force in Ukraine against the Russians, unfortunately, on a territory of Ukrainian nation, which suffers the most. I think that this could have been avoided if they would have done what they signed. That is the Minsk Protocol 1 and 2, 2014-2015. So let's see what these guys in Ukrainska Pravda say on Friday, January 20th, 2023. This is the title. USA advise Ukraine to postpone planned counteroffensive, the White House says. What do you mean advise? Why is not Honduras advising Ukraine? And why is not, I don't know, Zimbabwe, as I said, or New Zealand, or other countries? Obviously, we know the answer, don't we? And that is because this is the leader. I didn't hear the Germans advising Ukrainians not to attack or counteroffensive, or I don't know, the French or the Great Britain. None of these countries or any other NATO member. And that tells you, obviously, who's in charge. Now, top leadership of the United States of America advises Ukraine to postpone the massive offensive on the Russian forces, and only started after getting the last position of American armament and getting its troop trained to use it. I don't think the Ukrainians would have been able to conduct a counteroffensive with what they have at this point anyway. And this American armament, is it offensive or is it defensive in nature, or both, right? Anyway, we'll see. Maybe they will expect some troops as well. Volunteers. Right? Now, the source is an anonymous member of the administration of the US president, as reported by European Pravda with reference to Reuters. The anonymous source added that the USA and Ukraine only discuss any kind of counteroffensive only with guarantee that Ukraine will at first give enough time to training on the new weapons supplied by the American side. Oh, the operators, the contractors are not shipped to Ukraine yet. All right. He also revealed to a small group of journalists, just an intimacy over there at a sauna, that the USA will stick to their decision to not provide Ukraine with the M1 Abrams tanks, since they are expensive and hard to maintain. Okay, yeah, they're expensive and hard to maintain. How many billions of dollars United States cough up already? 80, 60 billion? How much? And they talk about Abrams being expensive. These guys are just pulling my something in between my eyes. What did you think? Anyway, so you see, they will provide them if the war doesn't end by then, and there would be. It seems like from other articles that I read, it seems like that would be a tipping point for the Germans to agree to supply Ukraine with Leopard 2 tanks. So as you know, there's a big conversation or debate or, twisting the, I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it. In Ramstein, it was yesterday regarding, or the day before, regarding supplying Ukraine with Leopard tanks, Leopard 2 tanks, the German manufactured tanks, which by contract they cannot be delivered to a third party unless Germany says, yes, you can do it. Germany doesn't say that. Anyway, we got some beautiful polls that says, well, it's okay, we're going to do it anyway, which is a no, violation of the contract and many other international arrangements. But hey, Poland wants some money from 1.3 trillion dollars as reparations from the Second World War from Germany. So maybe they say, you know what, since we are not friends anymore, then we can do that. But we know that Poland is it's a USA's vassal state in Europe. It's not Germany's. Therefore, Poland can't really do no harm, nothing wrong, because the big boss will come and get whomever dares to point fingers at Poland by the ear and smack it. Earlier, Jens Stoltenberg, a useless guy, just a spokesperson, Secretary General of NATO, who participated in a Ramstein meeting, approved of the decision about the new supplies of weapons to Ukraine. He believes that this support will not only allow Ukrainians to protect themselves against the new Russian offensives. So the Russians are conducting offensive operations, and not only one. Thank you, Stoltenberg. Because if you read other news outlets, they're kind of like tight-lipped, and they don't tell you about, oh yeah, offensives, more than one. Oh my, you blew it. But anyway, this is Ukrainska Pravda. It's kind of like unusual. That means the shit really hit the fan over there. Otherwise, they would not say it like that. They would just take it out. And why would you want to do that? Because you don't want to destroy the morale of your troops and obviously get the Russians some hopes. So, he believes that this support will not only allow Ukrainians to protect themselves against new Russian offensives, but also to start their own offensive actions in order to liberate their territories. At the same time, Mark Milley, the 20th chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff of the US, believes that it will be very hard to drive out the Russian troops from the occupied territories of Ukraine with military means. Did you hear that? So he said it's going to be very hard to drive the Russian troops from the occupied territories of Ukraine with military means. So are they going to try with the ladies of the night or vodka or what other kind of means? They're going to discuss. They're going to be talking. Well, they're going to be brought back at a negotiation table as JFK was brought by ugly bad boy Khrushchev with a Cuban Missile Crisis, if you remember that one. Well, yeah, we won, but then we took our United States weapons from Turkey. Remember that one? I do. All right, so, and the Soviets did not even put missiles, let alone nuclear missiles, in Cuba at that time. They were not there yet. But at the same time, Milley thinks that, yeah, but he was smacked over his beak by his boss when he claimed that, hey, maybe we should, now is the right time to talk with the Russians. Remember when he said that? When the Ukrainians had that successful offensive, counteroffensive, I think it was in September or something like this, very successful. And they took over and they were good. Then Milley came with his little whatever, box. He came and told the White House, which is, what's his name? I was about to say Trump. The shuffling madness, what's his name? Biden, the semi-conscious mummy, still in the White House. He said, hey, tell the Ukrainians now is the right time to negotiate with the Russians since you have the upper hand, or at least you're gaining territory. And this guy said, no, we go all the way. Well, all the way is going to be deep inside your... All right, and I'm quoting, the front line right now goes all the way from Kharkiv down to Kherson, and there's significant fighting ongoing. It is more or less static front line right this minute, with the exception of Bakhmut and Soledar. Supposedly, the Russians say that they took over Soledar. I don't know. these guys deny it. This is a significant amount of territory, and in that territory are still remaining a lot of Russian forces and Russian occupied Ukraine, Milley said. Well, I rarely agree with Milley for obvious reasons, but and the reasons is he's stupid, and when he talks bad, then I will say that he talks bad. What does that mean? He just has some ideas that are really not in par with reality. But hey, he knows what he's doing. That's why he's a general and he's a chief of staff, right? Joint chief of staff. Good for him. Anyway, so advised not to start a counteroffensive unless the U.S. Provides the weapons and training for the Ukrainian fighters, if there are any over there anymore, if you know what I mean. I know they have a lot of volunteers from the Foreign Legion, so maybe those guys with not a dual but uni contract will be trained. I know that 100 Ukrainians are in Oklahoma to train for the Patriot Battery 1, because from what I know, and I might be wrong, but hey, if I'm wrong, then might be Colonel McGregor wrong too. I think it's about 80 people at least you need to operate a battery for a Patriot battery. But hey, don't quote me on that. Is this what I heard from a colonel? So supposedly these guys are training hard. They will grow in 1 year. In 1 year, how other grow in I don't know 50 years or something. So the Ukrainians will be able in I don't know maybe 3 weeks to gain so much knowledge and expertise and training that a regular military would get in I don't know 6 months, 7 months. That's what I heard again from the same sources, that you need about 6 months to be trained to operate an Patriot. But we'll find out, and it makes sense. Wait for our goodies and then see how we're going to use them, and then maybe you can do something, if there's going to be anybody else over there to do anything, because by the time maybe the Russians are going to all right, this is it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just, my friends.